Hello and welcome to my Qadim the Peerless Q2 kiting guide. Okay, the basic things that you need to know while kiting. Keep your special action key turned on, unless you are not kiting anymore. Keep your special action key turned on until you are no longer kiting. You want to stay in your circle, but don't stand on the lines or the circle just like in Q1. Most of the time, the tanking is towards the north, so you're allowed to stay on the left frontal part of the circle. This is because most of the time people are doing the orbs clockwise instead of counterclockwise. But if it's counterclockwise, then you have to go to the right side instead. You want to teleport or use a portal, some type of movement skill to get to the orb and come back before the orb hits the ground. And you have maybe around 5 seconds before your pylon deactivates and you have to CC it and everything all over again. You also have to CC the pylon during a few other times of the fight. The other thing is you need to be able to do damage to the boss. And again, you need to keep yourself alive. So some healing for yourself, something like the Relic of Zakuros, or the heal signet that heals when you do damage, something like that will also help you out here. You do get some free boons from the pylon. Okay, kiting is, for the most part, pretty simple. As you can see in this example, while this is a little odd that we have 3 verts, the numbers here, 1, 2, and 3, indicate the order in which Qadim will go and destroy the pylon. So the first one, number 1, gets destroyed, 2 gets destroyed, then 3. At that point, all of the kiters are now just regular GPS. So if we're picking up the orbs in the clockwise rotation, as you can see here, in red I've marked each of the kiters, and the blue arrow showing the orb that they will go to, if this is being done in the clockwise rotation. And as you can see, with this type of rotation and the way that the tank is tanking here, all of the kiters can be in the left part of the circle. So they are both closer to their orb pickups, and all of them are safe from Qadim's auto attacks that will just blast anyone directly behind it, and of course the road. Even though the kiters are kiting, they are not exempt from getting other mechanics. So if the expanding lightning attack happens, it can happen on you. If it does, keep the small circle at the front part, move back a little bit, drop the medium-sized one, just dodge it when it's about to explode. Same thing for the big one, and you'll be fine. If the arrow happens, since you are far away from the group, you have more than enough time to watch Qadim slam the ground, send the arrow out, and you can just jump it. Or even distort it if you really want. Same thing for the lightning. Okay, for orb pickup. As you can see, the people circled in red are the kiters, the blue is going to be the orb pickup. You're going to see the orb pickup spot in the blue is going to be a dark circle, and there's going to be a circle, a white circle inside that slowly becomes smaller. You want to go when that is maybe a quarter to a fifth of the size of the bigger dark circle that the orb is going into. You want to go then, grab it, come right back. Okay, if you're kiting as a Scourge, there's one thing to note. Your Sand Spell has less range than Shadow Step and Blink. So, you might have to go to the edge of your circle and actually Sand Spell from the edge to your pickup spot and back. If people drop the fire orbs very close to you, or in between, in a way that you might actually have to step out of your circle entirely, Sand Swell out, get your orb, come back before your pylon deactivates, and you have to CC the thing all over again. If you're doing this on Deadeye, be aware that your Shadow Step is very easy to double tap. So you get there, you pick up the orb, you press it, you come back. I won't be giving you actual rotation guidance for these builds. That's just something you're going to have to hit the golem and practice doing some decent damage. Alright, the Deadeye. There are two different versions of this, one using the rifle and the other using the akimbo pistols. Maybe in the future there'll be a new option for this. So, both rifle and akimbo pistols work just fine. The rifle does higher damage, but it's harder to pull off. The pistol one is much easier, but lower damage. And because it has less range, you're going to have to be closer to the boss. As I said earlier with the Shadow Step, be sure not to double tap it, like really fast, or else you'll come back to your initial position before grabbing the orb, which will maybe kill you, most likely, because it will probably deal a lot of damage to you and everyone else. And here's the actual traits for this. As you can see, I decided to run the akimbo pistols in this run, also using the heal signet for some easy survivability, took some Basilic's Venom to help with CC, and of course, just regular Mercy. You can also swap out Basilic's Venom for Thieves Guild. You can use the CC from the rifle or the pistols on the pylon or the boss, and then of course use Mercy to immediately refill all your initiative. Okay, for Scourge Kiting, you can use Blood Fiend or the Heal Signet. Blood is power, or Serpent Siphon, which is both a barrier and a block for yourself. Obviously Sandspell, Signet of Undeath, but you can swap that out for the Plague Signet if you decide you don't want to go all the way with the regular DPS rotation using F2, F5, then it's whatever. And of course, Flesh Golem for CC. For the most part, you play this the same as the regular DPS Scourge, and Scourge is also unique here because you can do this as an Alack DPS while kiting, which means you'll have to take Serpent Siphon for that one to help with the Alack uptime on the group, and in this case you will need Signet of Undeath to help out with that. And just like with Deadeye and Vert, you're going to still be running the regular DPS builds, or the ADPS build for Scourge specifically. As I mentioned earlier, Sandspell is short range, 900 range units, whatever that distance is really supposed to be in real life, who knows. So you'll have to be at the edge of your pylon circle to go out a couple of seconds early, catch the orb, and immediately come back. Here's the build for that one. Okay, so as you can see here, I was running the Heal Signet, along with Signet of Undeath, and of course the Flesh Golem. It makes things a little bit easier, I think, using the Signet rather than the heal minions. But I believe that the minions also deal a little bit of damage, so you get a small damage boost from that, although I'm not sure if it's really all that noticeable. Virtuoso. It's pretty good at Q2 kiting, and it's honestly the easiest one. You can easily do like 20,000 DPS on this. You take your Heal Signet, Mimic, Blink, Signet of Midnight, and Moa Signet. Moa Signet's obviously there for CC, the Midnight one is there to cap out on the bleeding duration. Mimic, Blink obviously for movement, and you can use your Heal Signet as part of your rotation, unless people point the road at you, Qadim's auto attack, if someone does the arrow or lightning. Otherwise, feel free to use that as part of your rotation. Mimic and Blink, super long range. You can quickly get the orb, come back, nice and easy. Plus, because it's Condivert, you have your Sword 4. So when Qadim does the initial shockwave at the beginning that pushes people back, you can just Sword 4 that and easily get a dagger right at the start from it. And of course, you can also use your Sword 4 as part of your CC. You can technically use a portal here, so you can just place the portal, blink, portal back. You need higher alacrity uptime on yourself in order to do that. So I wouldn't recommend it because it would be very tight timing, as I have tried it before, doing it alone with no one applying a lack to you just from the pylon. You might actually miss the second orb by a couple of seconds because of the portal. Here's the build for that. Okay, so here are some things that can help you stay alive. You can use damage reduction food, just like I've mentioned in the hand kiting guide and the Q1 guide. Oysters with pesto sauce is something you can use. Food that heals you every once in a while, like the mango pies. Changing sigils, runes, taking things like the sigil of transference or concentration, giving yourself some boons like regen or protection. taking the sigils of water, using different relics like Defender, River, Flock, Monk, and since this fight is not based upon toughness tanking, you can take some toughness if you're having trouble surviving. Just remember that once your pylon is destroyed, turn off your special action key and just DPS like normal. Alright, so to quickly talk about some non-meta builds. So there are plenty of other builds out there. For example, using Mechanist, you can play Power Mech, use a Rifle 5, Rocket Boots, and Shift Signet. Bladesworn using Sword number 2, Pistol 4, Dragon Trigger 5 to get around the place. Obviously, some of these skills that I'm talking about right now, you might have to change your combat settings so you don't automatically target and move straight to the boss, but rather in the direction that you're facing for something like Sword 2, Pistol 4 for Bladesworn. Obviously, other things like Harbinger can use Flesh Worm to just teleport over, Willbender, F1, 2, and 3 to move around. You can also use stuff like Merciful Intervention, the other for Weaver Tempest. You'd be using Pistol and Lightning Flash as your utility for teleporting somewhere. You can also play that using a staff and use Fire skill number 4 to just go straight back, although you might have to dodge through the fire and use that. So it is very risky. There's also Herald, where you use your Hammer 3 with very tight timing to go and grab the orb. And even Mirage, where you can use Scepter as your main hand, or using Staff, Mimic Blink, or just Blink, or use your Elite skill to get around the arena. And finally, this is some miscellaneous stuff, but you can use this for better damage. So, this person, Caddy, I hope I'm saying that correctly, has a short guide video on how to use the tether mechanic to increase your damage. This isn't just for the kiters, but for everyone else that's on the group. So if you're interested in that, you can check out their guide. Okay, here we are doing vert gameplay for kiting, using Moa Signet to break the thing at the very beginning, the pylon. Immediately using my F2, then a Sword 4. Using the F2 to obviously start off the damage, using my Sword 4 to get another dagger immediately, and then just doing rotation as per usual. And you can see here, obviously special action keys on. I'm kind of close to the center area, so if someone here wanted to use the tether mechanic to get close to me, to do a little bit higher DPS, they could. This is how I usually do it. If I'm on Scourge, I do the same thing, but that's also more of an obvious thing because it has shorter range than a vert does. Here you can see Mimic and my Blink right there. Come back. Continue DPSing like normal. This is pretty much just how it goes. 80%. Going to the marker. My fellow marker person comes with me. Once again, CC. Repeating the same thing I do at the beginning with the Sword 4 here. And the same thing with using one of my function keys to do some damage. If you want to maintain good DPS uptime, that's one of the things you have to learn in this fight, are these small in-between parts where you can still apply some damage and keep your damage high. You'll see whenever Qadim actually destroys a pylon, when he goes to that area, you can go into that fire. It does deal damage, yes, but if you are something like a vert, you can use your F4, you can use your Sword 4, and you can just get in, get out real quick, or obviously staying at the edge. If you have a group that has healers that are willing to do this, they can run into it with you, and hopefully the other DPS players, and you guys can just heal through it and do a bunch of damage and come out. That is another option. So yeah, this is just pretty much how this whole thing goes. Occasionally, when you are kiting, you will see the anomaly on the right side of my screen, where there might not be a person who's actually, trying to get rid of it. Or rather, trying to CC it. And it might come up to you and it might start hit you. Okay, So sometimes it might be that no one's actually seeing the anomalies. It might show up and it might start hitting you. If that happens, you're going to have to be really careful, and you'll have to try and CC it yourself if no one else is doing it, or, make it known that you need help. That is the other thing. Alright, now you can finally see, here we are at the phase. I'm running up to the edge, trying to put some more damage on the boss. That's the kind of thing you're going to have to learn how to do. And I'm going to skip to another part of this fight, so you can see some of the final bit. Alright, skipping ahead a little bit. Here I am still kiting. Some good-fashioned fun. Anyway, that's pretty much all you need to know for how to do kiting. I won't let the rest of this fight play out just because it takes a while. So I'll stop that part here. Thanks for listening to this guide. I hope you all found it to be useful. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment. You can message me on Discord or in-game, since I put my contact info at the beginning of the guide. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.